Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. It has been forever since I've come on and said hello, like my face on camera. It's been a while, but I thought I'd come on today and say a couple of things. Firstly, I massively appreciate you all. Secondly, do hit that subscribe button because that's something I always forget to say until the end of the video, and then a lot of people aren't there at the end of the video. So also hit that like button. Helps YouTube understand that you like this content and they will push my videos out. It really is the only way to grow, so hitting that like button is so important. The final thing to say is that I know I've been back on the resin lately. Like, I really am still back on the resin, and I've just spent all of yesterday filming some, in my eyes, beautiful polymer clay and resin creations that are coming up. And as I went to edit, I realized I had this video still sitting there. I filmed this video back in March because it was actually going to be a Mother's Day video, but the Jesmonite turned out way too dark, and I decided to make it into a Father's Day video, and I just kind of sat it to one side and put it in a box and forgot about it. And then, yeah, this morning I found it sitting there and I thought I need to get this video out here because Father's Day is Sunday. So that is the reason I'm throwing in a Jesmonite video in the middle of a resin run, just in case anyone's wondering where my head is at. That was all. I hope you really enjoy the video, and do not forget that like button and a subscribe and comment down below. I'll see you next time. Now, like I said, the plan was to make some Mother's Day coasters, but you would have already seen that video back in March. If you missed that, you know, it would still work for a mother's birthday, so I will link them here. Now, I'm using these gorgeous silicone molds. I've had these forever. They are coaster molds, and they've got a gorgeous diamond cut faceted edge. Now, you can find these on Just For You online, but you can also find them on Amazon a little bit cheaper, so I have got them linked below in my Amazon storefront. So I just mixed up some Jesmonite. My thought process was very similar because it was the same thought process, and that was to make a muddy marble. Now, if you have not seen my Jesmonite pyramids video, oh my goodness me, you know, muddy marble, like a muddy pour. Muddy marble is one of my favorite ways to marble. You just never know what you're going to get. So I mixed up a basic mixture of my Jesmonite, and then I kind of separated it out into separate cups to create different shades of grey and different levels of marble. The plan is then to put it all back into one cup and pour it as a whole. But immediately I knew that I had made this way too dark. This was a solid 5 or 6 tiny drops of black. The Jesmonite black pigment goes so far. And remember, to get your black, you need to add the full 2%, but this was nowhere near the 2%. And then in a separate cup, I just added one, look at this is 1 drop of black. It's insane how far it goes. I then decided to try and lighten up some of it by adding some of the dark and putting some of the natural Jesmonite back in. But there was absolutely no way I could lighten this up unless I used a ton of white pigment. And at this point I decided Father's Day it is. That might be quite a sweeping generalization across, you know, the male species, because they might not all like dark colors. They might like pink, who knows. But this was where my brain was at. I didn't want to waste the Jesmonite, but equally I knew it was going to be too dark for Mother's Day. So here is where the muddy marble comes into play. You want to pour all of those bits that you've made, all of the separate cups, the separate colours, again, colour of your choice, back into the one jug to create so many different kinds of shades, so many shades of grey and dark grey and all of that in one, and create a really gorgeous muddy marble. The one thing you do not want to do is stir this too much, because you will end up with just grey, just plain grey. Like I said, the black is so pigmented, so you really want to go easy, not give it too much of a stir. So here I'm just going to give it a little bit of a mix. That is it, no more than that, and then it is time to pour. My favourite thing about muddy pours truly is that you never know what you're going to get, and no two pours are the same. But that's the same with any pour of any medium. You're never going to get two pours the same unless you use a flat opaque block color, and then even then sometimes even then it betrays you and it comes out different. But here I am just giving them a bit of a shimmy and a bit of a shake, and then I filled the other two as well off camera because you don't need to sit through all of that real time. This is when I decided kind of what color vinyl to go for, and I really felt like blue was the best option. I went into my Cricut design space. Oh my gosh, so much choice for Dad, so much choice for Father's Day, all of these different options. And I just scrolled down and scrolled down. I didn't know whether I wanted just Dad or whether I wanted something more detailed on there, and I came across the same. Do you remember my Mother's Day coasters? And it was all very much like cheer mum, sporty mum, look, softball, handball, basketball mum, and I felt really like the laziest daughter on the planet because I didn't do any of these sports, so it didn't really relate to me. I found exactly the same when looking for Dad. It was all very much based around sporty, and there was nothing that really spoke to me and fitted me, so I went with a basic Dad and then a happy Father's Day. But look at these, oh my gosh. You know, the muddy marble, you can see so many images sometimes, especially in my pyramids, and I've done a tray before and it ended up with the most beautiful bird. Like, you just couldn't recreate it. I truly love the way they come out. This one came out particularly dark. This must have been the last one that I poured, and it had the majority of the darkest pigment in there. But the other three are pretty much the same, with the same kind of tones of grey, and then one dark, which is, you know, is fine. You don't necessarily have to give your parents or your friends or your family a whole set of 4 coasters. You can split them up, separate them out and sell them if you wanted to, sell them individually. The next step for me, because I didn't fill these molds completely to the top on all 4, I have this lip. So the next step for me is to really just sand that lip off to avoid anyone getting hurt. And I'm using a wet dry sandpaper. This is 180 grit. I'm adding my water and I'm just running it around, and it doesn't take long. I sand immediately after demold because that is when the Jesmonite is at its softest. They do recommend you wait 24 hours, but I've never been good at following the rules, so I sand immediately. Just remember to keep adding water, otherwise they'll just stick. They'll stick to that sandpaper and they won't come off. And it's so easy. You can either wash them under a tap and allow them to dry again, or you can just use a wipe like I do and just wipe off all of the debris. Now the next thing for me to do is sit these to one side and let them thoroughly dry out over a 24-hour period. I always and ah as to whether to highlight these with the pen, because I know with the Mother's Day ones I did ask you guys if I should actually highlight them with the pen, and the majority of you said the same thing that I was feeling, was to just leave them be and leave them alone. But I think with the Dad ones, with the Father's Day ones, they came out so kind of graphic, like a block graphic design, that I felt like the pen would really work. Now I rarely show me weeding in a video. If you've been with me a while, you'll know it's not my favourite pastime. It is not my favourite thing to do. And quite often I'm just not very good at it. I'm not very good at it. I get the job done. That's the thing. There's a difference between being really good at something and just doing what you've got to do to get the job done. And that is me. I do what I got to do to just get it done. So yeah, if it looks messy and just not the way it's done, then that's okay, because it gets the job done. It gets the job done. So I'm just weeding out all of the little pieces here, and honestly, like, I'm loving the Cricut design space. I really feel like I should be using it way more than I am. And when I bought my Cricut, I really felt like I would be using it a lot more than I actually physically have. But c'est la vie, I guess. That is life. Sometimes you buy a gadget and it just sits there, and yeah, but it's good to have. It's good to have it there should I need it for anything. The first one up is the Happy Father's Day, and transferring it on was super easy. This vinyl is actually HTVRont. I love love HTVRont Vinyl. Now, I know they sent it to me for a collaboration, but that was ages ago, okay? This is me telling you genuinely that the HTVRont Vinyl is the easiest vinyl I have found, and I find it so much easier to weed, so much easier to transfer, and then to scrape onto my pieces. Truly, truly love it. Really happy with the blue against the grey. Like I said, it's a really graphic kind of dark, moody style on these coasters. So again, choose your own colours, whatever you are happy with will work. And the transfer tape always peels off so easily with this HTVRont vinyl as well. So really, really happy with this one. Now, moving on to this one. This one reminded me of like a baseball shirt. Is anyone getting that? Is it just me? When I saw this image, I was thinking baseball. I don't know if that is ingrained in my head or it's something I picked up on telly, but it does remind me very much of America and that kind of baseball shirt graphic. Really loved it. I love the shape of it, and I just thought it would look really cool in the middle of the coaster. I did have a couple of issues weeding out those teeny tiny little highlights that you see on the individual letters, but again, kind of got there in the end and really, really happy for it. The next thing to do, if you haven't already seen, I made a tea tray using Jesmonite and Vinyl, and then we sealed it and we did a heat test to see if it would hold a hot cup of tea, and it all worked perfectly well. So the next thing for me to do is to seal these coasters. It has been 24 hours, so I can go ahead now and seal immediately. Now, I never actually got round to sealing these back in March, so this is real-time June Claire sealing, and here we are. I have all of these sealers now. This one here by Resin Protect It. I was sent this by one of my amazing patrons, so thank you so, so much. Never tried it, never tested it, not even once, so I really don't know the heat-proof nature. These two were sent to me, you would have seen in recent videos, from Elechem, the eggshell and the satin. Loved these. Again, not tested the heat-proof nature. This one I know works. You would have seen in a previous video. I made a tea tray using vinyl, exactly the same method. Jesmonite and Vinyl worked a dream, and I did a full heat test, so I know it works. So the first coat has to be diluted by 20%, and I use a cheap Tesco kitchen sponge to rub it all over. Again, the vinyl is not affected by this sealer. It works a dream. I rub it, and of course we all know it can get a little bit streaky. So the other half of the sponge that I cut off is the dry half. I'm just gonna rub this over. I go across, I go up, down, across, up, down. I do this around 4 or 5 times until I can no longer see any streaks in that sealer. This is what I do with the very first coat, and I do the same to all 4 coasters. You can see here it's getting better, it's getting less streaky, and I'm really happy with the finished result. As soon as I can see no streaks, I know that I'm okay, and I will let them sit for around about 1 minute until the second coat has to go on. The second coat is neat acrylic Jesmonite sealer, and you only really need 2 coats to make them heat proof and water resistant. Now the thing is, I know that the acrylic sealer by Jesmonite has been discontinued, and I do want to test the heat proof nature of the new sealers that I have received. So this will definitely be a future video, and I am sorry because I know the majority of the people watching this either don't have that acrylic sealer or can't get hold of it. But right now I don't have any new information on what is and what is not a really good sealer, heat proof sealer that can be used with Jesmonite and Vinyl, because I've not tested it. So if anyone has done and run a test, then obviously let me know, but I will be doing this in an upcoming video. I also want to get hold of some more sealers because I know that so many people in the Jesmonite community are using stone and tile sealers, something I do not even own. So I'm hoping to kind of get together a handful of sealers and just do a whole video on testing. But I hope you've really enjoyed this Father's Day video. Again, you know, Father's Day is coming up on Sunday the 19th of June, so these could just be used as a birthday gift to anyone for any reason. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.